that moment, I would hear tapping on the window. They would tap here. I would hear tapping. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's just a squirrel or a raccoon. But it was like a pattern. It was definitely a knock. And I would open my eyes and I'd look toward the window and then it would stop. But after a while, I started feeling an actual presence. And I would feel this presence right next to me trying to take my soul out. It would torture me at night and I would try and fight it. But I felt my body felt paralyzed. It was just so strong that I would just let go. And then I'd feel myself floating in the air and I could try and see myself, but I would just see a blur. And it happened for many years. And when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I felt the baby as well trying to come out, but I was trying to fight it, and I was saying no, no. So I would pull back. It's like if I would pull back, and it would pull, the other way.
When I was in my mid to late 20s, I had a really awful breakup. I was miserable because I was like so brokenhearted, and I started my first teaching job around the same time, so I was super stressed out from that.
And he looked just like a three-dimensional shadow. Outline, just perfect.
And he would walk disjointed.
And he brought the vibration with him. It's as if it was emanating from him. And he would come towards me and I would just feel that. I would hear all the sounds of hell, I don't know any other way to put it, and feel his awful vibration. And I would have a fight-flight response. And I would completely, freak out and try to scream or get away. And many times the intensity just continued.
And I was very scared, and I was upstairs, and I didn't feel like anybody was going to get to me if I screamed.
The first one is the generic shadow person, which is just basically an outline of me and you on a sunny day on the pavement, on the sidewalk, in a 3D form. And the second entity, which is the Hat Man, who seems to have a direct link to him. He's a very authoritarian figure. He's very menacing. He's in charge of them, his minions, so to speak, and they're a team. It's hell. He's awful, awful, awful. But it all starts with that electrical shock.
Dark. They always just look so cartoony. Whenever I've tried to draw them before, and it just looks so goofy. It just doesn't have the same malevolent impact. And their skin was like television static. It had, like an old TV, when the signals, when you're not getting a good signal, it had that same kind of texture, that kind of They were tall, kind of thin, these kind of thin limbs and these long fingers. And they had these very simple faces, almost cartoonish faces of, these two inky eyes and this big inky smile on their face. This kind of, tickling fingers. These like long, slender They were laughing, you know, and then here's my little feet, you know. They were tickling me. Couldn't, you know, I was paralyzed. I couldn't move and I couldn't stop them. And they were laughing about it. There was kind of like laughter, like ha ha ha, like there, you know. And bars, these two anthropomorphic things, the windows.
And I can sense the color red, as if they were wearing something red, like a dark red robe of some kind, or something red. And I tried to look at the face, but I couldn't. Like every inch, every centimeter feels like a ton.
Can't really, we can't interpret it. Like, we're still not, you know, interpreting it right, but now we're seeing the raw data. We're seeing, you know, oh, that could be a demon. I don't know how to visualize a demon because that's not a thing that my brain can interpret.
And I mean, I actually kind of believe that probably a lot of people who do believe that they have been abducted were actually victims of sleep paralysis of varying degrees. Of course, as reading more about sleep paralysis and realizing the prevalence of this experience, you know, exists in every single culture in the world.
There are these common archetypes that keep popping up, and all over the world. Like, it's not just in America people get these red-eyed demons, and it's not, you know, they're everywhere. You know, the shadow man, the cats on the chest.
I learned very late in my life that the name of Jesus has power, and that's how I became a Christian.
So, do you not believe in the Wikipedia definition of sleep paralysis?
No, that would be sort of like I guess the worldly term, like what people would deem as something that's a physiological response, that it's like a natural thing that happens with the body, but I don't think that's true. I do think that it's something to do with the spiritual realm, and it's closely tied with possibly demonic activity.